Woohoo! It's up to Homer Simpson and family to save the world from a diabolical plot as they run and drive.
Hello, it's ShadeX, and I'm a longtime Simpsons fan. I even had a massive collection of Simpsons merch back when I was a kid. I've read the comics and I have the show on DVD. However, one piece of Simpsons media I never got to consume growing up were the video games. The Simpsons as a franchise has had games ever since 1991. Some of the earlier 2D games were well loved, like the Simpsons Arcade game, but other titles of that era, like Bart vs. the Space Mutants, were despised.
When I was 11 years old, my whole world was video games. Just locked in my room playing Bart vs. the Space Mutants and all this crap. I mean, I wasted all my time on this shit. I want it back. It ruined my life.
It wasn't until the PS1 era where The Simpsons finally got to be 3D for the first time in the game The Simpsons Wrestling. The game got mostly negative reviews, but what is funny about it is that it has one of the most overpowered fighting game characters of all time in the form of Ned Flanders. I am not joking, by the way, he's a broken character. Anyway, Simpsons video games for a while were not always well received, but that would change on September 16th of 2003 when Simpsons Hit and Run came out. Hit and Run is viewed by fans and critics as the best Simpsons game of all time. It was developed as a spiritual successor to The Simpsons Road Rage, which sold a total of 3 million copies prior. In the arcade-style game, you drive Simpsons characters to their destinations. Despite Road Rage's success, its mechanics were viewed as derivative of Crazy Taxi to the point where Sega sued the publisher, EA, for patent infringement. Luckily for Fox and EA, the case was settled out of court. Road Rage was developed by Radical Entertainment, who would go on to work on Simpsons Hit and Run, but with a different publisher from EA, that being Vivendi Universal Games. In an interview with the YouTube channel MinnMax, John Melchior, a Fox executive who helped with the game's production, noted that the developers at Radical Entertainment, along with even Matt Groening himself, wanted to be out of the car for the next game. Thus, Simpsons Hit and Run was born out of that concept. Rather than simply use aspects of the Crazy Taxi games, like Road Rage, it instead was inspired by the open world aspect of the Grand Theft Auto series as well.
Did someone say GTA?
Yeah, but you can drive through Springfield from The Simpsons, so it's a lot better.
Blasphemy.
Can you explain the similarities then?
Fine, but don't you dare slander GTA again. So I'm assuming that you all know about the GTA series, right? It's kind of become a money printing machine for Rockstar in recent years. But a lot of people seem to forget just how revolutionary the series is. Yeah, it sounds weird. A game where you kill a load of cops and innocent pedestrians is revolutionary, but hear me out please. Back in the early 2000s, games were very limited with their worlds and stories, cause in case you didn't know, making a game is hard. So most video games back then would give the illusion of an open world, albeit very limited. But then in 2001, Rockstar Games released Grand Theft Auto 3. This game proved that open world gaming is possible, and this shit was an insane success. Gamers were blown away with the open world freedom, as well as that classic Rockstar Games humor. And this success continued with both Vice City and San Andreas, both of which were very successful games. But very soon, other game companies started to notice the success with GTA, and they thought to themselves, hey, we can do open world gaming, and thus many games would try and capture the GTA formula with varying degrees of success. Hell, even movies that inspire GTA would become open world games inspired by GTA. And that's where we get a game like Simpsons Hit and Run, a game clearly inspired by GTA's concept of driving around an open world, while also having its own unique style and tone. But can Simpsons Hit and Run stand on its own two legs? Well, I'll let ShadeX be the judge of that. Thanks for having me on, and make sure to go check out my channel. Anyway, time to rob a bank.
Simpsons Hit and Run was a game that worked well as a slightly more family-friendly alternative to Grand Theft Auto. The game has missions just like the GTA games, which have great variety. There are racing missions, collect-a-thon missions where you occasionally drive to collect items, and missions where you must destroy a character's vehicle like Smithers in his purple car before time runs out. Sometimes these missions have you drive solo, but other times you'll be in vehicles with iconic Simpsons characters like Comic Book Guy, where you'll assist him in getting an itchy and scratchy comic book. Hit and Run has something similar to the star system from Grand Theft Auto as well, that thing being the hit and run mechanic. Rather than use stars to display how close the player is to getting arrested, there is a meter at the bottom right of the screen. It turns yellow once you up the crime rate in Springfield, and then it turns red. Once the meter is flashing, the cops will go after you. This can happen either by causing major damage while driving or beating up NPCs. This includes Ned Flanders and even Marge. Beating up Ned is in character for Homer, but beating up Marge just feels wrong. In fact, the developers were not sure how Matt would react to Homer being able to kick Marge when they showed him the prototype. John Melchior remembered that very day where the Simpsons creator surprised everyone.
I remember the first prototype who told Matt Groening that Homer could kick Marge, but they won't do that in the game. They can't kick the kids. And the first thing he did is he kicked her all the way down the street, which was kind of funny.
You can beat up a ton of other iconic characters in this game too. They even have unique lines they say when they get beat up. Some lines are pretty questionable though, like what Krusty says.
I didn't touch your daughter. I swear I didn't touch your daughter, and she told me she was 18. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff.
Beating up the people of Springfield may be fun, but don't do it too much. Because if you get caught doing a hit and run, you get fined 50 coins by the police. Hit and runs can be really annoying at times when you're driving too recklessly while doing a mission, so I recommend keeping an eye on the meter before it gets full. Oh yeah, and one more important thing, if you plan on playing the game, I highly recommend free roaming each new map first before you do missions, so that way you know what shortcuts to use depending on what mission you get assigned. Missions can be pretty stressful, especially with the limited time you have, so free roam a bit and have some chaotic fun first. Now that I mentioned the game's mechanics, I'll now briefly talk about the playable characters, vehicles, and the game story, which consists of numerous fun missions. The Simpsons Hit and Run has a total of 7 levels. The first 4 levels you play as Homer, Bart, Lisa, and Marge respectively, but Apu is the playable character for level 5 with his own set of missions. I find Apu, being the only non-Simpsons family member to get his own level, quite interesting. The game then has Bart and Homer as playable characters for levels 6 and 7 respectively. The characters even each have purchasable costumes that contain references to episodes from the show. For example, Bart has Bartman while Lisa has her Florida outfit. For later levels in the game, they will require you purchase a specific outfit like Marge's officer outfit and Apu's American outfit for certain missions. Each character gets a vehicle unique to them too. Homer at the start gets his iconic pink family sedan, Bart gets a rocket ship at the start, Lisa gets a Malibu Stacy car, Marge gets her Canyonero, and Apu has his Longhorn. A ton of iconic vehicles from the show itself are in this game too. Some of them, like the Plow King and Mr. Plow trucks, are even required to be purchased to complete certain missions. Seeing those vehicles in the game brought back some nostalgic memories, as Mr. Plow was a very memorable episode of the classic seasons for me. You can even get some vehicles like Professor Frink's hover car unlocked unlocked via bonus missions as well. Anyway, on to the story. Simpsons Hit and Run has a very interesting narrative that involves a large number of mysterious wasps spying all around the city. The first level of the game starts off with you playing as Homer. At the start of the game, he watches an ad for a new version of Buzz Cola. He then delivers Lisa her science project she forgot to bring. He collects Ned's belongings he stole and gives them back to him. He then rushes to work before Smithers shows up. Homer notices black vans around Springfield and ends up believing Mr. Burns is spying on him when one appears near his mansion. But before he can confront him, he must help Marge destroy copies of a violent video game called Bone Storm 2 for the blue-haired Karen she is. Homer then races Smithers to Mr. Burns' house. However, when he confronts his boss, he reveals they are just black pizza vans and then fires him and releases the hound. Then we move on to level 2, where the loading screen acknowledges what happened in the previous level. That's a detail I love about this game that continues all throughout it. The plot of level 2 is connected to the first, with Bart searching for a copy of Bone Storm 2, the game his parents destroyed most of the copies of. Bart really wants the game, so he resorts to doing things like selling fireworks, hoping to find himself a copy, and riding along with Comic Book Guy to a coffee shop, but unfortunately he learns the game is completely sold out. It turns out Professor Frank bought the games to program a giant robot called Truckosaurus. Bart then assists Frank in building it by finding electronics needed for its completion. The missions here are quite fun. Throughout the rest of the level, Bart must do favors for other characters in order to get these electronics to build Truckosaurus for Professor Frank. My personal favorite of these missions is the one where Bart and Cletus gather roadkill to sell the Krusty Burger. This angers Apu, who views Cletus's roadkill business as competition to his rotten meat at the Quickie Mart.
Please stop what you are doing. No one can sell rotten meat in this town but me.
Bart's level ends with him getting a glimpse of Truckosaurus before quickly leaving the stadium. Fun fact, the Truckosaurus was actually going to be a boss fight, but it got cut. Bart then gets abducted by aliens. The third level focuses on Lisa on the search for Bart. This level focuses on a different part of Springfield than the previous two levels. One detail I really love is how jazz plays as you drive as Lisa. In the first mission that I mentioned earlier in the video, Lisa assists Comic Book Guy in getting the Itchy and Scratchy comic book where they kiss. Why? I don't know, I guess Comic Book Guy is a closeted furry. Lisa then talks to Milhouse asking if he knows where Bart is, and she goes to every location he mentions, and coincidentally he's always there. He keeps hitting on Lisa and then giving different locations Bart might be. This ends at the Springfield sign where Milhouse asks Lisa to a dance, where she comes to realize he was lying to her the whole time. Anyway, I kicked Milhouse at the end of that level off a cliff. That's what the creepy nerd gets for wasting my damn time. Lisa then goes to the Quickie Mart to talk to Apu, since Bart tends to hang out there a lot. It's here we get a reverse of the Cletus mission, where you ride along with Apu, who is getting revenge from the slack-jawed yokel who took all the roadkill meat in Bart's level. Apu's lines make me chuckle in this mission.
Hey, move it, Whitey. Move it, Cracker.
And yeah, if you play this game, you'll be hearing Apu's funny lines a whole lot in level 5. The same voice lines, but they don't get old. Lisa then talks to her grandpa, who mentions he saw Bart in a sedan. Lisa helps Chief Wiggum find evidence against Snake in a mission where you for once can't get a hit and run since you're playing as Chief Wiggum. I really love that detail. Finally, after doing favors for the sea captain, she destroys a limo Bart was in and finally ends up finding her brother at the top of the ship in a confused state, making zero sense. Marge's story in level 4 takes place mostly during the night, with her trying to figure out what's wrong with Bart. She asks around town by getting Chief Wiggum donuts and helps Cletus with a harvest. At first glance, that harvest you'd assume would be a vegetable, but it's not. Rather, the slack-jawed yokel himself is looking for ketchup packets around town. Marge then goes back to Bart, who reveals the aliens gave him the Buzz Cola. Marge then collects the cans of tainted Buzz Cola that are all throughout the city and afterwards destroys some Buzz Cola trucks. The Buzz Cola truck destruction level is really fun since you chase one of the trucks into Mr. Burns' mansion. Marge goes back home and seems to have succeeded in getting rid of the soda. However, a newspaper loading screen says the soda is still popular and notes that Marge hates it. Now there's the 5th level with Poo. I really love his inclusion as a playable character, which we got a small taste of prior in the Roadkill mission in Lisa's level. Poo story is about him making the decision to investigate the Buzz Cola trucks after he learns from Marge earlier in the game that the sodas are tainted. After following the cola truck, he runs into a member of the mob who tells him to stop investigating. Poo then remembers he must pick up his octuplets from the hospital and drives there as he flees from the mob. Poo then has to collect diapers for his infant offspring when Dr. Hibbert notes the hospital ran out of diapers. After that, Poo follows Chief Wiggum in order to find Snake. Poo then assists Snake with his community service by collecting trash for him. He even helps him with the criminal act of destroying an armored car, which he lies is also a part of his community service. I really love how Poo and Snake team up in this game, as he's usually robbed by him in numerous episodes of the show. He then tells Poo that the cola trucks are registered to the museum. Bart and Poo then team up following the museum curator's truck and smash it to get the key to his building. After inadvertently destroying a dinosaur skeleton, they then enter the museum and realize that Kang and Kodos are going to further brainwash Springfield by putting their tainted Buzz Cola in the water supply. They want to make the Springfield residents use laser guns against each other. Kang and Kodos do this to make the reality show they're secretly filming with the WASP cameras more interesting for higher space ratings. Overall, I loved Poo's level, and it is a highlight of the game. I love seeing him react to the high stakes of the game's story, and really appreciated how brave and heroic he was in his investigation of the Buzz Cola trucks. 'Tis a shame Poo got cut from The Simpsons and is trapped in limbo at the moment. Bart returns as a playable character in level 6. After Poo decides to step away from the alien conflict, it's up to Bart to warn Krusty the Clown that he's promoting a bad product. He confronts Krusty, but the clown wants evidence, so Bart meets with Professor Frink and ends up collecting laser guns from the Duff truck. Bart runs into Skinner, who ends up confiscating Bart's laser guns, so he ends up destroying his car to get them back. Bart then removes the free laser gun stands and follows King and Kodos to Duff Brewery. However, unfortunately, King and Kodos succeed in polluting the Springfield water supply with Buzz Cola, creating zombies. The game starts with Homer and it ends with Homer in level 7. I really love the spooky theme of this level that is clearly influenced by Treehouse of Horror. I saw videos of this level and thought the aesthetic was cool, especially the fact you can be Donut Homer or Evil Homer in this level. However, while the spooky atmosphere is nice, this level is a bit repetitive. This is the climax of the story where Homer must use nuclear waste to defeat the aliens after realizing it is their weakness. This level consists of a bunch of nuclear waste back and forth timed fetch quests where you need to send the waste into the spaceship. However, if you drop the nuclear waste, you need to drive all the way back to the power plant to get more. This starts with a mission with Homer alongside Frink, one with Homer alone, one with Snake, and finally one with Grandpa Abe. Long story short, Homer sacrifices Frank, Snake, and Grandpa to get the nuclear waste in King and Kodos' UFO. The game ends with the aliens dying. Homer is hailed a hero and has adoring alien fans who watch the events of the game unfold. King and Kodos are dead, but on Earth's heaven, and are happy the reality show was a success. That is, until they learn they have to to witness the game's credits, which they sarcastically riff over at the end. But yeah, that's the game's plot. I really love the story of the game as a whole. So much love was put into the maps of each level, the vehicles, along with the costumes being full of references to the show. And more importantly, the voice acting of the original cast. Radical Entertainment made something amazing with Hit and Run. John Melchior noted that the game sold 8 to 10 million copies. According to the developers, Vivendi Universal Games had success on their hands and got offered a 5-game deal to be the exclusive publisher. There would have been a sequel to Hit and Run that Fox had already approved. There was even going to be a Lord of the Rings inspired Simpsons game that Matt pitched that would have been developed by a studio called Stormfront. The devs at Radical had a ton of ideas for a Hit and Run 2, like airships and planes. However, unfortunately, Vivendi Universal Games said no to that deal. Thanks to Universal stupidity, we've been stuck in a drought where EA is squatting on the rights and doing nothing with it except, I don't know, Simpsons tapped out, I guess? Sure, we got the Simpsons game from EA in 2007, which I do want to give a look at myself, but since then there hasn't been a console game. Still, there may be an explanation. According to John Melchior, nowadays Fox is pickier about Simpsons games and that the cast costs way more than it did back in the day when Hit and Run got made. At the very least, I really hope, like Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, that Simpsons Hit and Run can either get a remaster or a remake. Recently, I caught wind of 2 Hit and Run projects. One fan called Reubes remade Hit and Run in his spare time. There's also El Gato de Tejado, who made his own Hit and Run remaster that has cool changes, like making the game's cutscenes look 2D animated, like the show instead of 3D, which I think is very impressive. Sadly though, due to legal reasons, these can't be shared. Due to that, I hope an official definitive remake comes out someday. There definitely is at least some hope, as Simpsons showrunner Matt Selman is in favor of an accurate remake for fans of the game. Hopefully, Disney and Activision make the right call and release this game again someday. Overall, I really enjoyed The Simpsons Hit and Run, despite how frustrating the game can be, especially when I got numerous hit and runs at very important missions. I still had a lot of fun playing it. Gonna be honest though, while I played through most of the game, I will admit I skipped quite a few missions. Why? Well, in the words of Homer,
"You're not a very good driver."
I tried pretty much every mission, cleared quite a few, but I did not beat all of them. Still, I hope one day I can complete this game. To be honest, I was just playing Hit and Run for fun before I decided to do this video. It is fun to cause chaos on the streets of Springfield, and missions provide funny interactions with other iconic yellow characters from the show. A detail I love about this game is that you can ride any vehicle in it. When my vehicle breaks sometimes, another person's vehicle can be a total lifesaver. For example, I had a ton of fun trying out the monster vehicles in level 7, and the tiny skeleton car saved my ass when I was struggling to bring the nuclear waste to the UFO in time. Since you can drive any vehicle in the game, there's room for a ton of experimentation. Hit and Run was described by the developers as an open sandbox Simpsons, and I can't agree more. I am glad I finally got to try this iconic Simpsons licensed game out that I wanted to play ever since I was a kid. I would have played this game a ton if I had access to it back in the day. If you haven't played Simpsons Hit and Run, I highly recommend it. Before I end this video, I want to recommend you all watch the MinnMax interview with the developers of Hit and Run, as it was a great resource while working on this video. And last but not least, special thanks to GTA fanboy Zach Quinn for appearing in this video. This has been ShadeX, and I hope you all feel nothing but good vibes.